G'day, my name is Joe Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of Wollongong Wars 11 and a million other things in the MMA scene, I'm talking to Mr. Joe Lopez. Joe, I thank you very much for the time. How are you this morning?
Yeah, good. Really good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate the time. I mentioned it right there at the top of the show. Wollongong Wars 11 is coming up. Uh, it has been just over a year since the last one. How do you decide, all right, we're getting the band back together, we're doing another Wollongong Wars?
It takes me 12 months to get over it, so that's why there's far and sparse between. But this one's probably been 6 months, I think, because we did one last December. We did two last year. And yeah, this one we got the Alta program we started at the beginning of the year. So they've done their 20 weeks training, and yeah, they get to fight next Friday.
Of course, I thought it had been longer, so I apologize for that. I didn't realize they're speeding up. Evidently, the last one didn't kill you as much.
Yeah, no, Tara helped me with that one. She did all the texting.
You're gonna say so on the day, as a man who runs it and is also so involved with the coaching aspect, what does the day of Wollongong Wars look like for you?
Um, it's more about just allocating, you know. For me, I just got to make sure I got the right people doing all the jobs, and then I just have to worry about one job. Of course, you know, people, there's always going to be a spanner thrown in here there, but you know, not to stress. And as long as everyone has a good time and we have no trouble, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Well, most of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we never really had any. We've never had any dramas at the show. Usually, the biggest drama in organising a show is the matchmaking. You know, guys pulling out at the last minute, but it's part and parcel of the fight game. Been sort of fortunate this time. I've got too many fights. We've got 18 fights on. Usually, they start to drop off, but they haven't. You know, honestly, I could probably put on a few more, but I want the show to start on time and not run too late. So let's see how we go.
I was gonna say you don't want the show to go for 24 hours.
No, God knows. No, I just want people to get in, and I want to get them out. You know, the longer you keep them there, the longer the better chance you got of trouble and that. You know, it's the industry I've done for a long time, so I know it. So I know what to do and what to look for.
Spoken like a true veteran. Of those 18 fights, how many of them are freestyle people?
I think there's maybe two that are not. I'm not sure. I was just going through the fight card before I went out, but you know, there's I think 6 outer fights or more, so they're going to be only 3-2. So hopefully they go through fast.
Do you corner for all of that?
I'm not going to corner the Alta guys. I just stay because a lot of those fights are within people within the gym. So I like to stay impartial then, and I just get a couple of the team members in there to corner those people.
But for the other freestyle people, you'll be in their corner?
Yeah, like there's been a couple of coaches that have helped with the Alta program. So they'll go one on each corner, and then one of the other team members will jump in to help on that corner. And I think I don't know how many. I've got more than 20 people fighting that night, including the Alta. Yeah, there's a lot of people fighting. So there's a lot of hands to wrap, a lot of people warming up, and yes, that's going to be a busy night at back of house for us.
Yeah. Do you just, at that point, you have to just stay out next to the cage, right? Just like bring the next guy out. I'll just stay here.
I will. That's what I had to do at the last show. It was when you've got, I think I had 11 people match. So I came back for a couple, but it was just easier for me to just stay there and get the next one in, you know?
I totally said that expecting that to be a joke. With that, as someone who obviously coaching veteran of the scene, you've been at every level. Before people are making their amateur debut, before people are fighting like at this level, How do the feelings compare for you as a coach?
For me, it's all the same. Honestly, I never try and like everyone will tell you that I never stress about anything. I just try and keep my cool. And I think as the coach and the captain of the team, you gotta be that cool level person. Can't let your emotions or anything get in the way. You got to show strength.
So even if it's an amateur debut or a world title professional fight, it's always just kind of the same feeling.
It's the same, always the same. Sometimes I'll probably get a bit more nervous actually for the amateur guys because I know that the kid might not be tough, or he's facing a tougher guy, and you don't know how he's going to handle it. But guys like Alex, I know he knows his job, and I don't need to worry about him. You know what I mean? It's more that I have to worry about somebody who's going into the unknown. How is he going to handle it when he gets in there? Is he going to fall apart? Because I've seen all sorts of stuff over the years. So nothing that's going to surprise me. We'll probably hope no more. I get no more surprises.
Talking about that, so how are the people going to go when they make their amateur debut at Wollongong Wars?
Well, look, I hope that they go in there and they've done all the hard work. So this is supposed to be, as they say, the fun bit. And look, for a lot of them, it's just whether it's been like with anything in fighting, a lot of it is there's the physical side, but the mental side is probably the hardest part, because you can be fit and stronger than anybody at the gym, but if you mentally are weak, well, it's only going to carry you so far. But on the same token, you could be like a specimen as a person and mentally strong, but you don't train, and then that falls apart on you as well. But for these new people who've never done it, and some of these guys have probably never had a fight or an altercation in their life, and I've seen the change when they first came and sparred. Some of them were very timid and scared, and to watch them over the 20 weeks, how they've developed and actually, taken on. And I go, oh, man, some of these guys have got balls now. You know what I mean? When a lot of them at the beginning didn't. So let's see what happens on the day.
Talking about that kind of like mental toughness, I've heard Steve Erceg, after his last fight, he talked about it's the biggest fight of his career, but even in the cage, there were moments where his mind began to wander. When you're cornering so many people on one night, you kind of always need to be switched on. Mentally, is that like incredibly draining?
I don't know. I've never thought of it as draining. It's just part of, I guess, because you enjoy doing it. It doesn't become draining. It does become long. You get tired, especially when you've spent the day setting up. You've had the weigh-ins. And I'm very pedantic, so I'm very hands-on. So I'm there helping set up the cage. I do everything, and then the pack up at the same. So it's not so much that the coaching or cornering the people drains me. It's just the whole process of this fight week is draining, because I want everything to be perfect, I guess. So I like to make sure everything is right.
When I know you said before, every fight you feel that kind of same level of calmness, if not a little bit more worried against the guys who are a little bit more unproven. But cornering 20 amateurs on one night compared to cornering one fight, but it's like Alex fighting for a world title. Is that like, are you super tired after the 25 minutes with Alex because it's so high stakes?
No, not at all. When you get to the arena, especially in the UFC, there's such a positive energy there. Or for me, anyway, I think it's really positive. And the vibe that you get. If anything, it's more to contain that emotion, and but it's even if you're tired, once you get there, it's that this is what you worked for, and this is what you came for, so you're excited about it.
As a coach,
sorry, and if people see us, I mean, there is a lot of corners like ours, but I've always had a really, backstage we're really easy going, we're joking, a lot of the banter's high, we put music on, tied to Ivasa, and that was always good sharing the corner with those guys and Tyson Pedra. They'd have the beats going, or the same with the CKB boys, putting music on, just chilling out, having a laugh, and then, as it gets closer, the boys start, getting into their groove, and then by the time they're about to walk out, they're ready, But there's no stress or sitting there, getting angry or anything, It's more just a chill vibe, the calm before the storm.
As a coach, like when I asked you how the people are going to do it, Wollongong Wars, you said like, well, they've done the work. Now it's the fun bit and stuff. As a coach, there's kind of like, from my perspective, not a coach, there's like a weird balance between kind of captain of the ship, which is kind of how you referred to yourself, but also the people are individuals and they have to go out there and execute. For you and your perspective, kind of what is that balance between like you're the leader, but it doesn't solely fall on you?
Well, look, like I tell the guys at the beginning, like especially these Alta people, as long as they come to training and don't miss sessions and don't make excuses, I'm proud of them whether they win, lose, or draw. Because now they said they were going to do something and they done it. And that to me is a big enough reward, and should be for them as well, because they faced their fears, they stood up to the challenges, and they committed to what they said they were going to do, and that's all you can expect. And as an individual, everyone thinks, I guess everybody is different, and to me it's just about me getting in their head. I'm telling them enough times, get on the head, do this, do that, and you just see them progress that way. And I'm calling out things in the practice and in sparring that they're starting to listen, and they're starting to think for themselves in a better way, and that's all you want, But yeah, it's really individual. My biggest thing is whether they, especially for the new people, whether come Friday, reality hits and they do the heart leech and go, shit, I think I've hurt my big toe and I don't think I can get out of bed, And I've seen it happen. I've seen guys, especially in boxing, guys would weigh in the morning, and then you'd fight in the afternoon, and two boys would weigh in, and then in the afternoon, and one guy'd be a no-show, and you go, what the hell? Especially if you had to travel to Central Coast, or from us go to Sydney, you do all that travel, and then you've got to stay there all day because you don't want to drive back, and you wait around all day, and then come in the afternoon for your match and the guy doesn't show. And that happens so much. Not so much in MMA, but in boxing it used to happen a lot, Do
you think the people are just built a bit different in MMA?
I think just, I don't know what it is. I think, this is my perspective, the social media, you've got to live up to it now more on a social media. Before you could just go and hide behind your, go back to wherever village or town you came from and tell everyone, and make an excuse, where now it's out there for the world to see. So that could be one factor. Again, a lot of the times, I think, martial arts, as well as, the MMA is a sports part of it, the martial arts is, there's a lot more, like there's the spiritual, the honor, the integrity side of the martial arts, where boxing and all that's just been a sport. So a lot of the times the coaches and that look at it more that, hey, I don't want my boy to get beat, so it's better that he doesn't fight this boy,
So you've mentioned, before, and people on the socials see it. The Alta program, a lot of some of the people fighting on this card is the Alta program. Some people are familiar, some people aren't. I was wondering if you could just kind of take us through what is the Alta program.
The Alta program is just, like I said, a 20-week program or whatever. It's usually 20 weeks. And the guys train, 3 to 5 days a week. And at the end of that program, they get to, jump in the cage and have a fight. And at the moment, the Ultra programs are running, right around Australia or right around the whole world, actually. And it's made it a bit easier in the sense now, like we had you get people from all different shapes, ages. So, we've got a guy that was, I think he was like 150 or 160 kilos, and he was the big boy here, but there was nobody here that was his weight. He's dropped down now. I think he's 120 or something, but he still really wanted to fight. But, one of the other Alta programs from, I think, North Sydney, they had a similar guy that was big and couldn't get a matchup. So those two boys have, we've matched them up, and vice versa. We had a guy that was in his mid-40s. We had no one in the mid-40s at that weight that we could match, because they've got to be the similar age once they get to that over 35s. So, yeah, he's going to be fighting in 2 weeks after our show because, we couldn't match him on our show. So the North Sydney guys gave us one for our show, and we're going to give them one for their show, which is good, because at least these guys get that fight, and I'm really proud of them that they've actually, still stepping up and want to fight, especially like these, like I said, Big Nick, he's lost a ton of weight, showing up to the training, showing up to extra sessions, that to me is, as a coach, is just as great as, having Alex winning a world title,
You talked about you kind of getting all different people, shapes, sizes, ages. Is that different? Like when you have the Ultra program and there's all these new people, what is that like for you in the gym? I'm assuming as a coach, you may see one type of athlete typically. How is it to kind of see all these different types of faces?
It's good. The more the merrier, I reckon. As long as you're good people, the more the better. I actually look, unless it's an individual or I'm working, say, with Alex or one of the pros, and I'm focused on them. To me, if I'm teaching like a group class or a group of people, like say these amateurs, there's a whole bunch of them. Then there's 20 at a time. I feel I coach better when there's 20 of them there as opposed to 10 of them. I just feel the energy and the vibe, and that's just me personally, But again, I also, when I have to work with Alex or one of the other, like Colby or Lockjaw or any of the other guys, it's sometimes I just like that one-on-one time where I can just hone it in on the little things that they need to get better,
You mentioned how the Ultra program's kind of going on all around Australia at the moment and the world. How did freestyle become involved with the Ultra program?
Richie Walsh, who was running the program, I think he's still involved, but he's taken a step back. He's a good friend of mine, and he reached out and said he was looking after it. Would I be willing to jump on board? And I did it. Yeah, it's been good.
You talked about some of the pros, and as people who understand the pro game a little bit more, we can understand how it can get a bit intense. No offense to the man, but especially Lockjaw, he will make his opinion known on people. Do you want to say something?
No. I was just listening to, Look, again, they're all individuals, and like I say to them, I don't care what you do as long as you don't damage the gym and everybody else when you're doing it. So if you want to go out and call people out and play the big man, you can do it. But just know, when you meet those people and you have problems with them, I'm not going to have your back. You started the war, I'm not going to back you up. But if you come in, someone attacks you because you're not doing anything, I'll have everyone's back. But like I said, if you're going to start wars, you got to be prepared to back them up yourself,
So with the Ultra program, I don't know. I think it's some people. You said there's some fights that are happening like in the gym. People who have been kind of training. How are they?
Normally that's how we match them. So you match them in the group that within the training group itself. So that's how normally you match them. So it is a bit, I guess, surreal that you're actually training with the guy that you're going to fight, but you don't know who you're fighting. And at the beginning, you make it pretty unclear. And look, you usually start with a big group, and you know, and as the training goes, people get hurt. People realise that this is not something that they want to do. You know, everybody wants to be a fighter, as they say, till they get punched in the face. You know, and that happens a lot. You know. But, you know, to me, anybody that's stuck it out and everything, I'm proud of all of them. You know, they're, you know, power to them, you know.
I was going to ask, because of that, how is like the atmosphere in the gym? Because they're kind of friends, but eventually they find out they have to go against each other. But it's not as intense as necessarily where it's like, well, it's some guy from some other gym.
Yeah, but I don't think it shouldn't be that way anyway. I know some people need to be G'd up and hate and be angry, you know. I understand that. But for me here at the gym, the vibes are always chilled, you know what I mean? I don't want anger. I don't want no hate. I want everybody to get along. And that's why you've got to be a good person, you know, because that's the only way guys get better. If I'm thinking, you know, I'm better than Johnny, and Johnny then gets resentful because I'm pushing him one way, it just causes bad vibes, you know. I only want good people that want to train and get better. And that it starts, you know, from the top, and it works its way down to the bottom, you know. If you come here to the gym, and the first person, if Alex is here, Alex will be the first person to come over and shake your hand and introduce himself, you know. And he's the world champion, but Alex has been like that since he first started, you know. And like, it's the way we are at the gym, you know. We welcome anybody in as long as you're a good person, like I said.
Talking about like the UFC world title, I think there's this kind of conception about it that like which I'm sure it did for Alex, like everything gets awesome. Like you won the title, there it is, you're the man. But for you as the coach of a world champion, how does your life change after Alex wins the world title? Someone from your gym is the world champion. How does that change you?
No, it doesn't. Honestly, I sometimes I have to. I've spoken to people about it that I don't get emotional about it. I don't think about. I think, oh yeah, it's great, but I like I said, I must think different. Like, I'm really happy that Alex won, and I'm really proud of it. But man, I get to the gym the next day and I'll see Amina there, and I'll go, hey, we've got to work on this. And to me, there's always another mountain to climb, and that's, yeah. Sure, we've climbed it, but I'm looking for the next one, you know. I'm not, and it's not that I'm putting stress on it. It's just I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing the guys and the girls get better, and that gives me satisfaction. The winning is always great. The losing doesn't, but whether I win or lose, I don't change. I'm the same, you know. Sure, it's better when we win. It's better when we win. Don't get me wrong. I don't like losing, but I don't let it affect me or the team or anything like that. But yeah, to me, it's a game that we play. It's nothing personal. That's why I think of it different. And as the coach, whether I was coaching a football team or a basketball team, you know, you want your team to win. You've got to make sure your players, well, my players are my fighters, that, you know, I'm getting the most out of them and guiding them in the right ways. And to me, it's getting them better. And yeah, but because I don't look at it as a personal thing that we're actually fighting each other, because like I said, if you're a martial artist, you don't, I think anyway, for me as a martial artist, I don't want to fight unless I have to fight, you know? And for me, yeah, it's just, and as a coach, it's not about me, it's about making my team better.
Talking about it, that's kind of why I really enjoy talking to coaches, because of that, because it's, for so many of them, it's not about them. And I think aspects of the coaching job kind of fall between the cracks in a lot of people's minds. So like so you fly over to Vegas like 1 week, you know, you're there with Alex for fighting for the world title, and he has to go, and maybe like from what I've seen, his family stays at home, and then he comes back and he's back with his family. And he can then take whatever time he needs between camps, go home, see the family, come back to training. But for you, the next week you can be in Bali. The next week you could be fighting in a different state in Australia. How is that for you, both professionally and personally, where you're kind of on the road so much?
Look, I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. And I like to travel. I like well, what would you say, the comradeship, fight week with the boys or the girls. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I don't have to do this, honestly, but I enjoy doing it. And while a lot of people ask me that, now you get sick of this and doing that. I go, actually, I like it. Till I don't like it, then I'll do something else. But at the moment, like I said, I'm 60-something years old and I'm enjoying doing this. I think hanging around all these young guys keeps me young. And yeah, till then, honestly, my family supports me. I try and bring them away as much as I can. But yeah, it's not. It's a lifestyle for me.
Talking about those young guys. So the last time I spoke to Justin Van Heerden was after his victory at Hex 30. He was being cornered by Colby Thickness because another fighter from your gym, Kasib, was fighting in Bali. When that kind of pops up, I understand Justin's the more experienced guy. But when that pops up and you've kind of got those conflicting schedules, how do you kind of pick like, okay, well, I'm going to go corner this guy and I'll send someone else to be with Justin?
Yeah, I just made a choice. Cold New Zealand or beautiful Bali wasn't hard, wasn't hard. Hanging out with those dirty Kiwis, Eugene and the boys, or hanging out with the boys from Bali MMA, Bali MMA. Now, I got a good relationship with all those guys. It was Kasib's first pro fight. It was international as well. I mean, he's fought international heaps of times, but I just, I wanted to be there for him. He'd had a sort of, not a rough 12 months. He'd done 12 months of camps with no fights. So I really wanted to be in his corner and yeah, it was just a no-brainer. And, Justin's more experienced. He, I would have loved to have done both. And it was there. Apart from, I was going to do Justin's and then fly the next day straight to Bali. But yeah, with the flights, it was going to be tricky. And then Kasib would have had to be in Bali by himself. His first time ever there would have been a bit tricky for him. So I bit the bullet and went with him.
Also, you don't want to like kill yourself, dude. You like just jet lagged the whole time over in Bali.
Oh no! Honestly, I don't get jet lag. The worst jet lag I get, honestly, is coming from Perth back to Sydney. For some reason, that flight there never agrees with me. But I'll do 15 hours to LA or San Francisco. Sometimes we do the longer hauls to New York. I come back the next day, I'm fine. Honestly, fine. And then I do that one. That particular run always hurts me. But I don't know. So I think it's those dirty WA people, I reckon. They put something in their water.
I was going to say, so when like Amina was booked for like 2 fights ago over in WA, you're like, oh, no, no.
Yeah. I can't remember. I had somebody else fight and I couldn't make it.
Oh, okay. Well, so you're like, okay, sorry. Actually, maybe that affects the decision making when you're like, I could 2 people, but WA, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. No, I think I had something else booked freehand, and then that fight turned up. I don't know. Like I said, honestly, I have to. I don't know what I'm doing from one week to the next because I know I've got after Woolongong Wars. I think a few days later I've got to travel again. So, and then Craig Jones has been hitting me up to go over and do some traveling with him.
Uh-oh. That's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. He loves going to the dangerous places, but so do I. So, because he enjoys the travel and going to new and, like Ukraine and, doing all that crazy shit. It's just unfortunately that sometimes I make commitments to the boys and I get stuck here. Otherwise, I'd be going to those crazy places.
I wanted to talk about Craig because the last time I saw you do an interview was with Craig Jones, and 15 minutes into that interview, either you or him say we've been going for 30 minutes. What got cut out of that interview?
I think we did like an hour and 20, and it got tapered down to 20 minutes, 22 minutes. I don't know. We've been planning that interview for like a couple of days, because I hate doing podcasts, to be honest. But they got me a couple of drinks in and said, we're doing it now. And by the time they set up, we'd had a couple more drinks. And yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that, I don't know. He sent me the whole interview. Maybe it'll be released, but then I don't want to get cancelled. Actually, they can cancel me.
The director's cut.
Yeah.
The things that camera saw. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
So I've heard Craig, because he's now been promoting, he's doing the Craig Jones Invitational. I've been doing some podcasts. And also a conversation I had with Eugene while I was over in New Zealand. I kind of asked him about it. Craig, I'm sure, is inundated with requests to corner people or coach people in MMA constantly. And he seems to really stick to the guys from this region. What is your relationship with Craig, and kind of how did that start?
When we did the Ultimate Fighter, we were looking for a coaching team, and we reached out to him, and we spent, we spent, I think, 6-8 weeks, whatever it was, to film the show. So we were just together the whole time, and we really hit it off, And obviously, when you find good people, even though Craig Jones isn't a good person, but we just hit it off and stayed in touch. And yeah, he's good to work with. I really, his knowledge of jiu-jitsu, be stupid not to, have him in my corner. He's he's one of the best. So why wouldn't I?
So prior to Ultimate Fighter, had you known Craig or known of Craig?
Yeah, of course, everyone knows Craig. We've met him a couple of times, but yeah, Craig's out there a bit. His banter's strong, and we all have a good laugh, and we get along. So, like I said, it's just easier when you work with people you get along, than people you don't. Not everybody thinks the same, and that's why we're all different. But yeah, we get along, and like a lot of the same things. It's just easy.
I don't mean to put you on the spot with this one. I totally understand if you don't. But I'm wondering if you remember the first time you and I met each other.
Here, when you did some interviews or something.
That was the second. That was the second time. As I said, I understand it's a big mistake giving me your number, but I did. The first time I met you, you and Alex were in Melbourne. It was a charity like basketball thing was going on.
Okay, yeah, I remember it. Yeah, it was the basketballer Steph Curry's.
Yes. So I remember you were telling this story to a group of people, and I don't remember the exact story, but the spark note I remember is that you let people punch you in the stomach. Does that ring any bells?
No, that was when I first started doing martial arts, and all the boys up the beach used to come up and hit me in the stomach because, it just started off as a joke and it didn't hurt. And then they'd try and get harder. And then as soon as they get drunk, then they'd want to do it when we were out. And yeah, that was basically part of the story. Yeah.
I was going to ask, what is that story? And is that something that you still do?
I'm too old to do that. I punch them in the stomach. No, but when you're training, you obviously your midsection gets used to being hit and everything else. And, when you get, especially you get a young, drunk, surfy guy, and I was young too, they'd hit you and I just laugh at it. And you'd edge them on, come on, hit me again, just to let them. And, you get a bit of a status that they can hit you as hard as they want and you're not even flinching, but any fighter that's worth his salt can do that, It's not a magical trick. But it was to my young surfy guys,
Was there a point where you did that trick and maybe it didn't go as well as you had hoped and you went, I can't do this anymore?
Nah. It was, like I said, it was just when I first started training, and the guys I used to surf with, they just, it was just, a thing. It didn't last long, but it was just something that happened.
Do you ever get a chance to still surf? Or is that something you're still interested in?
Yeah, I think I've been a bit busy lately and been renovating my house, and it's just been hard to get to my boards and everything else. But yeah, I live on the beach, so the sooner I can get back out in the water on a regular basis, the better. But like I said, at the moment, it's just been a long process renovating, and the boards everything got shoved into the board shed, and to get the boards or anything out is a nightmare. But it's getting there. It's getting there.
When things aren't as hectic, how often do you get a chance to surf?
Well, whenever the waves are, like I said, I live on the beach, so it's not enough. That's probably the best answer. Not enough.
I grew up skateboarding. I was never the surfer guy. But I've been to Wingdang. It's a lovely place. Does it get like crazy, or is it like mellow surfing?
Oh, mate, that's up to the ocean, but Wingdang Island, and that's sort of can hold swell up to 20 feet. So that's big, so there's a lot of places around here that can hold the swell big. Wingdang Beach where it's on the point on the other side. You get some regular good waves, but the beach is pretty open beach, so it's up to the banks and the winds, But there's not many people. That's what I like about it, Apart from the islands and that, I can go out and then there'll be nobody out, me by myself.
Joe Lopez, I thank you so much for the time. I know you mentioned you don't love doing interviews, so I do appreciate you giving me the time. Wollongong Wars 11 is on June 7th. Tickets are still available, I believe.
Yeah, gold class, I think, is sold out. I think the tables are getting close, and it's just general admission now.
And then for everyone who is not in the area, there's a live stream.
Yeah, through Combatants. Yeah, don't go on those dodgy sites that they'll send you. It's all done through Combatants. So, yeah, jump online if you can. I think it'll be blocked off around the area as they do, and then it'll go outside international or wherever.
Perfect. That will be the top link in the description for anyone listening to this or watching this. Joe Lopez, I thank you so much for the time. What's on for the rest of the day?
We've got training this afternoon. I've got to do a bit of chasing up for Wars. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome, Joe. Thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.